Yes. So, Brian, thank you so much for taking the time today for being a part of our Community of Practice channel here on YouTube. And on behalf of SETSI, we want to thank you for your leadership today.
Thanks for the opportunity to chat today. Thanks.
Awesome. So, as always, we begin by acknowledging the original stewards of the various lands that we are on. We also acknowledge our ancestors. We acknowledge all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all the elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So, if you can please do us the honors by introducing yourself to our listeners and viewers and just tell us about your amazing work.
My name is Brian Iler. I've been a lawyer practicing in Toronto for the past 50 years. My focus has always been on supporting and working with community organizations. What's a practice like? What does that mean in terms of my practice of law? It means that we support and the people coming together to work collectively to find solutions that work for them, for their issues, to make their lives better. So I've worked intensively with the co-op movement. I work for many housing cooperatives. I work for worker cooperatives. I've worked with food cooperatives. So all those are community-based organizations um, that focus on making their members' lives better. Um, I also work with a huge number of charities and not-for-profit organizations and providing the kind of legal services that they need. And I built a firm around me. There are 7 lawyers here, and that's the focus of all of our lawyers, is one way or another supporting those organizations.
Fantastic. We appreciate your work. Um, so what inspires you about the work that you do?
Well, there are a lot of lawyers who are not very happy with the work they do. They don't like their clients, and their work is repetitive and uninteresting. I'm at the exact opposite. I've always relished the kind of work that we do, and the kind of clients we have. I think I've made many friends over the years who started out as clients. We enjoy the relationships. We enjoy the loyalty we get from our clients, and we're loyal in return back to them.
So, like on the flip side, like what challenges or barriers have you faced in your line of work, and how have you overcome them or in the process of overcoming them?
In the early days, this practice was, it obviously takes time to grow any business, and a law practice is is just like any other business in a way. Um, I was fortunate that I started practicing law in 1974 when there were a lot of new organizations, new nonprofits, new charities, new cooperatives being developed as a result of the emphasis of coming out of the 60s to find new ways of responding to social issues. And so that's when we saw the new federal co-op nonprofit housing co-op program come in. I was there at the beginning of that, and therefore was able to develop a practice in housing co-ops. But there were a lot of other organizations started at that time, and so my practice grew with them, and that's how I started. But in the beginning, it took a long time, and then my then wife was working as a teacher, and certainly supported me in those early years. It took some time before the practice started supporting me. It does now and has for decades, but that was the biggest challenge, is getting through those early years. We also were heavily working in developing new housing co-ops when Mike Harris was elected in 1994. And as a result, our work in developing housing co-ops disappeared, and I laid off 7 staff, lawyers and legal workers. It totally destroyed my legal practice, and we had to really start from scratch because of that. And fortunately, one of the people I'd worked with, Mike LeBay, came up with the idea of developing affordable ownership housing by using a building cooperative model. And so I worked with Mike, and the two of us built that model as options for homes and home ownership opportunities, which has now built over 5,000 units of affordable housing. So it's an interesting model, but some good came out of that disastrous period.
Oh, that's fantastic. You know, a lot of things that, you feel that turned sour, it didn't work out. Actually, there's always that rainbow, that life lesson. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. That's great. So, do you have any key priorities or anything you want to amplify in your work right now?
Well, I'm a founder of Tapestry Community Capital. It came out of our work with SolarShare, the renewable energy co-op, and I was a founder of SolarShare, and our work with Center for Social Innovation, and I was a board member there for many years. SolarShare and Center for Social Innovation both opted to raise money to finance their expansion by the sale of community bonds. And finding a new way, if you will, of accessing the capital that exists in our communities. And it's turned out to be very successful. Tapestry, and I sit on its board, is grown by leaps and bounds, and there's a huge demand for the kind of services that Tapestry offers. And so it provides consulting support to nonprofits, co-ops, and charities in their efforts to raise capital from their communities to finance their growth and expansion. So we worked with Tapestry with a project of mine, Hughes Room, a live music venue here in Toronto. Hughes Room, and I've been chair of that since 2017. But Hughes Room bought a building in 2023 with the assistance of a community bond initiative, and we paid off one of our mortgages by raising another $1.3 million in community bonds with the assistance of Tapestry.
Very good. Very good. Well, this has definitely been very impactful. Very good information, and that's what it's all about. It's that communal work. At the end of the day, we know that we are laying a foundation, but it's the new generation, the next one that's coming, and they're more looking for accountability in the work that we've done in the past and how they can carry it on. So every little bit helps, and we are pieces of a puzzle that's can we feel hopeful to know that we're stepping in the right direction for the next generation. So my last question is, do you have any closing thoughts or calls to actions at this time?
You mentioned accountability, and I know a lot of not-for-profit organizations do not have a structured in way of being accountable back to their communities, in that often the only members of the organization are the board of directors. And this is something that some of the more mainstream charity lawyers have been recommending. It's the wrong direction to my mind. And that if we're going to build in accountability into the organizational structure of our organizations, we need to formalize that, much in the way co-ops do, because co-ops are by definition governed and accountable to their communities through their memberships. And their memberships are those who use the services of the co-op. And so there's an accountability mechanism that's very strong and very vibrant, and I've seen it work so well. I would think that we need to look at accountability mechanisms like that for the broader social enterprise sector.
Fantastic. Very well said. And I totally agree with that. And, as we move on to this, there's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. Right. So
that's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing, and we appreciate you so much, Brian, for all that you do and all your accolades. We thank you for your service as a lawyer. I know it's not easy, and you go through the motions, and just want to thank you for today and taking your time out for today.
Well, thanks for the opportunity.
All
We'll
right.
talk
So
again.
Yes, we will close the way that we began by acknowledging the original stewards of the various lands that we are on. We also acknowledge our ancestors. We acknowledge all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all the elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So, Brian, once again, thank you so much. I'm sure we'll definitely be collabing in the future, and all the best to you.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay, take care. Bye bye.